Yeah,
Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead, Strat, I'm recording.
okay. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you.
Nice to hear from you again. Tell us what you learned in these last 4 years, being a member of the Environmental Advisory Council.
How much have I learned?
Yes?
I've learned a lot from the members. In so much as, for example, Scott Case is just amazing at running meetings and parsing out important issues. So I learned quite a bit from him and just watching him practice. And I learned about more points of view because my specialty is water quality. So it's nice to hear from other ends that are part of my specialty, but not specifically my specialty. So I've learned that. Those are the two main things I've learned. I also have gleaned a lot of information from the two attorneys that are on the board, and just their take on things and their sort of legalistic ideas. And then also how council interacts with a non decision a non-decisive decision making. Like, I'm not using the right word, but I've been on my school board for almost 20 years, and I speak up and I have decisive power, and as one of 9, and so just being advisory is a new experience for me as well.
Yeah. Well, you brought a lot of your background and knowledge to the EAC. Is there anything that we can improve on?
I think it would be nice if we could get more diversity into the mix.
Thank you.
So that's sort of important to hear all voices.
Well, the next question was going to be, how can the city assist you? You just told us how you could be assisted. Okay, Marcia, your turn.
Well, since I see Ann on a monthly basis at our meetings, what do you think might be the priorities for the EAC moving forward, Ann?
I think the priorities are the overall climate change and what can be applied to reduction of that. I think education, and I think activities for the community that make it, I don't know, make it exciting, that sort of put us on the face of the environmental issues. For example, we're hopefully going to put in signage that explain what different water quality structures mean. And a lot of people don't understand it because a lot of people aren't in my world. And so I think that education piece and other educational measures that are sort of fun, that get people involved, like with the gardening. And there are a lot of environmental issues that can be addressed with gardening, not just bringing the community together and promoting healthy food for the community and teaching, gardening practices, but also good gardening practices, like teaching no-till and lack of erosion and soil health, and those environmental type things that farmers are putting in place now. So all of those things can be taught as well. So So education is like on the forefront for me, and that pertains to the climate, pertains to water quality, that pertains to, and then we have two lawyers that are on the board, and they really help sort of parse out advice as it pertains to different codes that should be in place. I think also the one water approach from my world is reduction in street size, promotion of biking and walking and healthy living, and it all sorts of it intersects with economic development and sort of reaching out to different entities like the chamber and so forth to promote economic development through environmental practices. So, like many things, but largely it boils down to education.
Okay. Okay, who do we have there yet? Joanna?
Hi, thank you so much for seeking a reappointment. I want to go back to a comment about areas of improvement. I think you said you like more diversity on the board. How do we encourage and enable that to happen?
I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. I mean, I think we've tried to bring people into the fold, but then we don't really hear from them again. I think possibly through bringing people in that want to be involved in other things, such as community type efforts, and get them, I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I think we need that voice. I don't know the answer, and I don't know how you can help, because we've tried to bring people into the fold.
And at what point do we lose them? And why do you think we lose them?
What did you say, Joannie? I can't hear you too
Oh,
well.
sorry. Can you hear me now? Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think might be the problem to losing folks? Like you get them in, but then they lose interest. What do you think we can, what do you think might be the problem for losing them?
Well, I think part of it is possibly not coming up with ideas for community events that they could be involved in. We have a bunch of experts on the board right now, and they may or may not feel out of place if they are not an expert in what we're an expert in. Either an environmental attorney or a geologist or an engineer or a landscape architect. I think it maybe isn't intimidating. I don't know. I don't know the answer, but we need the community voice. And I don't know that just like a lot of experts have that voice or can hear, like we don't have the voice available to us. And whenever community, like for example, on the school board I'm on, when people come to the meetings and they voice their concerns, it really brings a light to the issues that are out there that we may not even know about. And, I don't know the answer though. What do you have any ideas?
No, well, thank you for trying. No, I'm just curious because I know, like, when I think environmental advisory council, I'm like it's not even an attractive title, right? Because we're not sure what that means. I think, like, I'm just trying to put my, just being a community member, like what I would be personally attracted to. However, it is a fascinating advisory board, right? And I think that we definitely need to educate folks first on what it means, right? And what it means to serve and what kind of difference and impact they can make. My recommendation would be in terms of recruitment, like now we have a youth commission that we've initiated. Perhaps maybe one of the youth commissioners can maybe sit on the board as a liaison so they can kind of help engage the community and identify potential board members from the community. Right, because I hear what you're saying. It could be very intimidating when when you're not I'm not a geologist, but there's people who are fascinated by environmental projects and making sure that we're being conscientious about how we protect our environment and so on.
Yeah, I
The
think,
neighborhood always makes that connection with the advisory council.
yeah, the Philadelphia Water Department has a lot of community efforts going on now. They have a lot of money to use to do it. However, for example, they did downspout planters to capture stormwater in certain neighborhoods, and the word spread, hey, that looks nice, I want one of those. And the word sort of spread that's they're beautifying their neighborhood, and it became a community effort. Just that little effort. And so that's something, maybe we could look at doing, because that's a beautification effort. We're creating a logo to go on the signage that describes stormwater management facilities. And so that logo would depict, the EAC. So if you saw it more, then maybe like it's identifiable, like, oh yeah, that's the EAC, I've heard of them. And then also we had been talking for a long time about creating a mapping system that not only included stormwater management facilities, or we call them BMPs, or but also like places to eat in the city. So it's like a combined sort of mapping system that can be used as an app on a phone that could bring in the younger people and visitors and so forth. Historic sites could be in the app, just sort of an all-purpose app that also includes environmental type of sites that are in the city. So that's kind of a fun, useful thing if there's an app on a phone. So like, I don't know, I think we need to have some type of educational activity. I worked with Reading High School at one point, and we had this party that I didn't think anyone would come to, because we redesigned the interior courtyard and included stormwater BMPs, and we taught the kids how to, what infiltration meant and how you recharge stormwater, like recharge the groundwater for drinking and so forth. And so we had this whole like unit that we worked with them on, and then had this environmental party, and we were hoping we would get 50 kids to come, because we thought, oh, they're probably not going to come. But one of the ways we got them into the fold is to include different clubs that Reading High School had, so that it wasn't necessarily the environmental club, but it was, a different club, like the art club or something like that, and included them. And so they all sort of partook in putting it together. So the lesson learned from that is we had 300 people come, and we didn't have enough ice cream for everyone. And it was a good problem to have, but it was involving all groups, not just people that were interested in the environment. So I think that's a big piece of it as well.
And could I just make a comment? Because I think that it should be an issue that goes on the agenda for an upcoming meeting, that we look at the balance of representation. And I like Johanni's suggestion about a youth commission member, but I sort of agreed with one of your insights in that this is a group of technical professionals. And I know when I sit in on the meeting, I can see a lot of jargon being used, that if I hadn't kept up with things that were being said, I might find that I was getting like really caught up and feeling like I'm not part of what's happening here. And I don't think it's any intent. It's just the nature of you're going after some high level initiatives, and you get caught up in, what some of the terminology, the jargon is.
Yeah. So Yeah, I think there are ways to do that, and I really do like that idea. Yes, of bringing in, and maybe we could, possibly just we have add that we need a representative from the youth in the city, and I don't know what's the group called,
The Youth Commission.
the Youth Commission.
Commission.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think by us getting it out to the public, word of mouth, letting people know in our different groups, we had the same problem 10, 12 years ago, gathering the, people for certain departments, certain commissions, certain boards, but we kept hammering and hammering. And all it takes is a few people get out there like yourself and other people from the youth group to start talking to their buddies and friends and tell them that a lot of people are afraid when they hear they have to sit on this committee and do this and do that. This is all common sense, all common sense. And I'll keep trying. I'm one of the first people in council that talked about diversity, and actually I got in trouble about this many years ago, but I will continue doing that. And anybody else that's a councilman or involved with the city, they should do the same thing. And hopefully we will get some more people on there from different groups. How's that sound, Ann?
That sounds good.
Yep.
That sounds good. And, like,
Else.
I think, can we add people like a youth commission? We can't.
Yes?
We would have to amend the legislation, but we can. It's not just. I'm also involved with the Youth Commission as I am with the EAC, and at their next meeting, they're going to get a list of when other groups meet and be encouraged to start attending
Exactly.
other people's meetings so they can see how they run, what issues they're addressing, so they get a little bit more background on what we're doing at this point. And
Yeah, can I make a comment too? I think when we look at this issue, it's looking at equity, which is a broader term, and to be able to look at how that's balanced out. So I think that might be a theme for every one of our boards, authorities, and commissions to look at how they're addressing equity. And that has to do with people being able to be engaged. So something I'll bring back to council on the whole. It's a project that I'm working with as being a social worker. You're always looking at those kind of issues. And I think that the one thing that we sometimes forget about is it's not only a matter of diversity in race, gender, or whatever, but it's diversity in people's educational perspectives on things. And that they come from different points of view that are very valuable. So that the EAC, I think, started out as a really strong professional group, which was important, but you need to always keep a balance going.
Yeah. And at least I'm a woman.
Yeah, that's true. I think we're pretty gender balanced in that group, aren't we, Ann?
What?
How many children did you say?
I had 6 physically.
Yeah, you're a woman.
No, but
Okay.
yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, one last question then, other than what was stated, and what's one of your goals, I guess, for the your next term?
For more outreach. Okay, so for example, I would really like to get going on the mapping system because I've been busy with that or trying to get it, get signage up, and just have more activities. So like all the things I think that the EAC should be focusing on finding ways to accomplish those. Really, that's the future of it in my mind.
Thank you.
All
And then
right.
finally, how many more members do you think the EAC should consist of? So when we are in council meetings, we're having discussions. I want to make sure that we're mindful of what number it should be increased to.
I don't know. We have a hard time filling our slots. So I think maybe the focus should be on inviting more groups.
Yeah, Johanny, I think there's slots available now that we could probably be looking at who might be the best for the new positions. Am I correct, Shelley?
Yeah, there are, I believe, 4 positions open right now. In addition, the EAC has several subcommittees in which non-full EAC members can be active. So if you don't want to be a voting EAC member and you're only interested in doing this one specific thing for the subcommittee, that's probably better for you than being on the EAC proper. So there are several options.
So I think
Oh,
it boils down to like sending more invites to a more diverse group right now. And maybe they'll get interested to be on the board, but yeah, right now we don't have all of our spots filled.
well, if we know of people that are applying for other jobs and they're filled, we should refer them to this group. That happens a lot. And you know, I don't think we ever had anybody turn the job down. They're looking to help the city. They don't care what it is. They're looking to help the city.
Yeah, I think it's important to have somebody that is has a lot of like capability to reach a lot of community members. And if somebody's interested in serving on another committee, then it sounds like they're very involved to begin with.
Yep. Okay. I think, well, we don't want to lose people like you. How's that, Ann?
Well, thank you.
Okay. Shelley, you'll notify her then?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ann.
All right, thank you. I'll leave.
Okay.
See you at the next meeting, Ann.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for your time.
All righty. Is the next candidate here, Shelley?
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Who's that, Ryan?
Hey, Ryan.
Hello,
Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. This is Councilman Marmer. I think I met you a few times. What
Yes,
can we even, you know, to have a person like you applying for this position, you're bringing so much knowledge and know-how to the rec board, to the rec commission. I'm just going to let you open up the program yourself and tell us exactly what you do and what you've done and what you would like to do. How's that?
All right. So a little bit about myself. I graduated with an education degree from Alvernia University on secondary ed social studies. I taught at different school districts in the area. And then one thing I used to do over the summer was being a camp counselor. And I moved back into the area around 2014. And I wanted to get into that field. I always thought the recreation field was interesting. And over the last 5.5 years, I worked for Limerick Township as a recreation assistant, dealing with programming and event planning for that township. Unfortunately, with the situation with COVID going on, the township was going through budget issues, and fortunately my position was eliminated. So I actually returned back to the classroom. I've been teaching special ed at Pottstown School District for the middle school level. And one of the things, I saw this as an opportunity to still be involved in the recreation community because it's such a vital piece of the community. It brings together so many different corners of the community, young and old, and being able to be a part of Reading's Rec Commission would be something special because I've seen from the professional end, seeing what Reading has provided to the community through their their award-winning tennis program, that youth the summer tutoring academic program that they offered. So that was something special to see and to be able to provide for the community. But then also, I've already been to the Schlegel Park where the hayride at Halloween time and seeing that
Yep.
neat production going on there. So it's something exciting to see, and just the traditional playground program that they offer and how many children that they serve for the community is great. And the end of the year program up at City Park is
Mhm.
that's a neat little tradition that that they provide, and that's something special to be a part of, have an opportunity to be a part of that, and kind of have um, my fingerprints involved with that, to be able to support those programs for the community. So you know, like I said, my background, I bring a lot of knowledge to this, the recreation committee, but I'd be happy to share it. And I think being able to interact with the different people that serve on the committee would be something special too, to be involved with the community and serve the youth too. I know that all these different programs from adult athletics leagues. So the wide range of services that they provide is definitely
Oh,
great.
excellent. Marcia?
Well, first of all, I believe I met you at a hayride, Ryan, at one point.
You probably
Uh-oh.
did. Yep.
Yep, because yeah, and that's probably one of the most amazing hayrides to go from the Schlegel Fieldhouse up onto the ball field. I've been actually involved with the Rec Commission since its inception. And I just wanted to ask you, from what you've been able to observe about the Reading Recreation Department or the commission, any thoughts that you have of things that we could do to be more better serving the youth and the families in our community?
I would say getting the word out that about what the services that you offered is always a tricky part.
Mhm.
You do the social media, and but maybe not everyone follows that. You might do, if you would do like a mailer, how much of that actually gets to the people's houses and to their hands and relayed. So all those things are definitely little obstacles to overcome when it comes to getting the message out. One thing I just know from previous things like that, the Rad Sport Act events, and that the Rec Commission was involved with the race in West Reading, and then also their event at City Park the following day. I think they do a very good job of on the ground making connections to people at those type of events, and maybe build off of that and try to provide. One thing that I always did on my end was have a little brochure or handouts of a calendar of events, and being able to hand that to someone hand that to them so they can have that and put it in their pocket and then pull it out later and be like, oh yeah, this in 2 weeks they're having another program that may be of interest. But always trying to find up a new creative way, especially on social media, to get the word out is big. And last summer with those wacky water days, they seemed like a hit. From every time I saw that on the news and seeing things on social media, that you always had a great group of kids out there, and just doing those little community events like that, building that one-on-one relationship with the resident, and just selling what they have to offer at those things go a long way, and getting the word out.
Yeah, and just as you come on the Rec Commission, it's going to be at a really critical time, because obviously things have been shut down for COVID, but they really haven't been shut down, because the Rec Commission has been an area that's been serving food to the community. What are your thoughts of how we transition back into some of the programs, and how do we do that, recognizing safety issues and such? Because this is a real discussion item with the Rec Commission currently.
It's establishing that routine. And I can tell you, just recently, Pottstown School District went in. We are a month in of having kids back into the classroom, and they were virtual fully until that time. And establishing routine of, okay, mask, masks up, hand sanitize when you enter the classroom, clean the area where you're sitting at before you sit down, dispose of that paper towel. So when it comes to like having children coming into the rec buildings or at the playgrounds, establishing the routine early is huge. And especially with younger kids, kind of rhyming and making a little like jingle out of it is a good way to having that little memory stick in their brain of, okay, I got to step 1, step 2, step 3 before I can go and have fun at that event. So I think, like I said, establishing routine is critical, and it's just showing it by example too is big. When the people that are around the program and helping out with the program are following the protocols of proper CDC guidelines, it establishes that environment very quickly that this is a safe zone. We want to keep it safe so we can keep providing these services to the community. So I think that's definitely 2 big parts of getting that situated and getting kids back in and allowing them to be kids again and running around and socializing.
Well, thanks for your insights. Very, very great ideas. We're going to obviously need to be really focusing on this in the upcoming months. Johanny?
Ryan?
Yep. Hi, Ryan. Well, wow, I'm so impressed with your background and your energy and your knowledge. Curious, what do you foresee your first couple of meetings to be like? What role will you be playing?
I would say the first one would be definitely becoming knowledgeable with the fellow members on the committee and where they kind of stand with like what's their area of that they would like to see grow and improve. And especially I saw that they were running the summer program, and I know that the summer that will be huge for the city children, and just becoming very knowledgeable on that and the expectations that the board has, and being able to provide any of the guidance knowledge that I have that may assist, and ultimately try to be able to help and provide in all the areas that the city rec commission offers, from the youth programs to the adult leagues, and maybe see something that where can we expand at. I know looking at the website, I didn't see anything really something that is geared towards seniors, and that was one thing that I really focused on in the professional end, was to boost up the senior programming, just from informational sessions where it was an hour-long speaker, from anything from just being safe at home, avoiding scams, how to make your house safe from like tripping hazards and things like that, working with physical therapists, to having a game commission warden come and just talk about wildlife in the area. So just different things like that. That would be something I would like to maybe add to there, is different programming geared to a different demographic of the city residents.
Joanna?
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for your feedback and input. What about community partnerships? We have a variety of social service agencies, community-based agencies. How do you see the role of the rec commission working with other partners?
I think it's very important, because you are going to be establishing those relationships, and you're going to meet people that you may never come across just your day-to-day operations at the rec commission. And that's a big part of just building that sense of community across the city. And working with those services, you may come across a family or a young child where they are unfamiliar with what they opportunities that they have through the rec commission. So I think that's definitely key in establishing those relationships, allowing the message of the rec commission to get out, to show what they offer. And I was just when I was looking on your site, the different businesses that participate with the rec commission as well. That's great to see, to help that somebody want to be involved with a department like this, and working with them just to kind of just build on what has already been established, and how can you make these programs and events better and be able to serve more of the community is always a goal. And working with those type of organizations and businesses is vital in keeping that momentum going and building these programs.
All right.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Brian,
Yes.
I'm going to make some comments here, and I hope you feel the same way. Isn't it something when you're dealing with the youth and you accomplish something with them that wasn't available or never took place, and now you've done something? Don't that make you feel good? Real good.
Yeah, it's and it could be something very simple, a simple task that they may have been struggling with, or something new that they've never discovered, and just
Right.
that light bulb going off moment is always something special.
Yep. Well, I had the same. Well, I was involved in sports all my life. I was an umpire for 20 some odd years, almost 30 years. I initiated, or I started the first PAL program. I'm the founder of American Little League here in the city, and that's the best thing that ever happened here in the city. Prior to having Little League here in the city, there was 2 or 3 organizations that had teams for the youth. But each team only had 10 or 12 kids on, and they're the only ones that played. And that was it. In Little League, we had as high as 600 kids at one time. And every kid that's on the Little League team must get in the game and must play defense and must get at bat one time. And this is big for a kid that isn't really an athlete, but he wants to be with his buddies. And I felt so good when these kids came out and strat this and strat that. And, well, I love it. I love being with kids. Maybe I shouldn't talk like that. I don't know. But do you get that same feeling when you can help a kid do something?
Yeah. And you just kind of you sharing your experiences. I did help coach baseball for X amount of years at a middle school level, and that is something fun seeing. And you never know, sometimes, especially with the younger kids, you want to keep them engaged, you want to keep them involved, because of just with my experience of playing sports growing up, there may be a teammate who is evolved but hasn't fully reached his potential or her potential, and keeping them involved as long as you can. You may have that child that everything clicks together a year or two later after they're involved, and that's the important part. And having that camaraderie and those memories that you make with the kids, and just with their own teammates, it is something special, and that goes a long way in building a community and relationships that you have for the rest of your life.
And it's being able to help, and you know yourself, young kids that are not good enough to be playing on teams, they love to be out there with other kids, but to be with people that they can't associate with because of their, they're not athletes, but they want to be involved, okay? And it makes you feel good when you can see them all together playing and having a good time. And not trying to outdo each other, just trying to have a good time.
Yeah, and that carries as they get older, and that child decides, hey, this isn't really for me, but those relationships that they built, they might be at that game on a Friday night for football, or on a Saturday afternoon at the baseball field or softball field, cheering on their friends that they've known from youth, and that goes a long way.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, Ryan, I want to thank you for coming on here and letting us interview you, and I'm sure you'll be a good addition to the rec commission. Thank you.
Yep, thank you for your time.
Shelley is our next candidate here.
You're on mute, Shelley.
The third candidate is not here.
All righty. Well, had you had any communications with her? Or?
I spoke with her mother when I set up the appointment, but not since then, so I will reschedule her.
Okay, what else do we have?
Yes, sir, we have to be mindful of the time because we only have 15 minutes left before our committee of the whole meeting.
Well, what else do we have?
We have to make recommendations for appointments, and
I recommend we appoint both Ann and Ryan, reappoint Ann and appoint Ryan. We're getting some good talent here.
what do you think, Johanny?
Agreed.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Johanny, did you want to talk about the Citizens Initiative Commission at all tonight, or should we put that on the next agenda?
Do we have time? Or, because I know some of us probably want to get a little break before the next meeting, but I want to know what the consensus of the group is.
I really want to talk about, but I'm not sure. I think we'll start getting into it and then we're going to have to cut ourselves short.
That's right.
I was thinking. All right, so we can discuss it later. I think what you emailed us, the how it's laid out and how it's written, so maybe it's just homework for us. So next time we meet, we can have a discussion and figure out how we start recommending folks to apply and get this
Exactly.
started.
Okay.
Okay. Where do we go from here?
We
5
have
o'clock,
time.
the committee of the whole.
Okay.
All right, I'll see
Thank
you
you.
all in a little bit. All right, bye.